Hi everybody, it's Dr. V. I'm back with a new reading that I'm offering this week for those twin souls that their divine counterpart is in a karmic relationship. I feel like it's important to explore this energy for multiple reasons. First of all, because then you can help energetically work with the energies and with your intention and with your higher self and with your twin's higher self to resolve those karmic ties and move the union forward. So I am not in any way, shape, or form advocating, any sort of manipulative tactics or anything like that, but just awareness. Sometimes awareness is the key. Good Lord, that was a challenging shuffle. So for this particular reading, I'm going to be using the John Holland Psychic Tarot and some clarifiers that I have over on my left as necessary. The cards are already jumping out, so there's a lot of energy around this reading. One more shuffle, I'm going to cut, and then we'll get right into it. All right, here we go. So, over here on the left is the divine masculine. Let me show you. Solitude. This is where he is. Triumph. This came up in both of these came up in reverse, but I'm not reading reversals. And temptation. That's three major arcana. That's interesting. Okay, the karmic partner. Where are they? Foundation and achievements. Power. In reverse, but I don't read reversals. I just am noting it because I think it's important. And material and spiritual prosperity. How they connect in this lifetime. First card. Interesting. Base chakra. Victory and success. And light. Okay. And how to resolve the karma. New beginnings. Heart chakra. And trapped in fear. Coolio, let's hop right in. So, I think I said divine masculine earlier, and although it could be divine masculine, I'm actually referring to any counterpart that has a karmic situation. So, the first card was solitude. So, this is the energy where he is right now, he or she. I'm going to use he just because it just is easier. Or actually, I'll just use they. I'll just be more conscious in my language and use they. How's that sound? Sounds great to me. So what this is that, his soul is calling out and wants to be heard. That's what this card says. It's like your soul is speaking to you. The soul is trying to get his attention. And I don't think he's listening very well, but I feel like there's some forward progress with that, but they, again, I said he again, but let me say they, but they are aware, they're becoming more aware. This card is suggesting that, stop looking for answers outside. You got to go within. You've got to get in touch with your soul again in order to find the answers that you're seeking. The next card that came up was Triumph. So what I first get is look at him. He's like riding on this horse and like toward victory. It reminds me of a scene from Braveheart when they're like riding into battle. But this is a soul card. His soul is pushing him forward. His soul is really driving this forward. It's setting new goals, developing new ideas. It's really all of that. And it's also important that it's something that's plotted. You know, you don't want to go forward impulsively and not just, you know, think about all of the possible outcomes and things that could happen. So this is about really being, you know, taking charge, moving forward, but doing it in a balanced and guided way. So how I'm tying this together is that if he would go within and really find out what his soul wants and what he desires on the soul level, what his soul is calling for, it'll help him be able to build the structure and the foundation to be able to move forward in a solid way. And the final card pulled for this divine counterpart that's in a karmic relationship. Excuse me, I need to get a drink. My throat is a little scratchy. That's what I get for talking for so long. Is temptation. This is traditionally the devil card in other tarot decks. So this is about addictions, self-limiting behaviors, self-defeating thoughts, self-defeating, you know, self-sabotage really is what this is about. So this is where the energy where the counterpart is right now, is in limiting behaviors. It's thinking small, you know, making choices out of fear, not being connected to source energy, not knowing, really being out of touch with their soul and what their soul is desiring. So this is about fulfilling those spiritual needs with other stuff, whether it's overworking, whether it's alcohol, whether it's whatever it is. That's the energy that this person is in. And they're also in, like, I feel like I really need to clarify this limiting beliefs. This is like really limiting energies where they're kind of like, well, you know, maybe this relationship is the best that I can do. And so it may not be horrible, it may not be great, but it's, you know, it's not terrible. And so maybe it's just the best that I can do. Maybe I am, you know, this is like the summit for me. So, there's a lot of negative thinking too with this card. It's someone that is really having the inability to see the forest for the trees, so to speak. The inability to see the possibilities and potentials because they're so out of touch with spirit and soul and their soul that they don't really know what's available for them. So that's where the divine counterpart is. This is the first card that we pulled up for the karmic partner, is the foundation and achievements card. So this is a spiritual card. You know, you see the family kind of looking at this house. It's kind of cool. But what I see with this is an interesting, I see it looking away, like their back is to the, you know, to the camera, to the reader right now. So there's this sense that they're feeling like they have, you know, a pretty solid foundation in some ways. Like they may feel like their relationship is in a solid state, but there's also an aspect of them that's looking away. So it may be like more on a conscious level. They think that things are going fine and that it's in a pretty solid state. The family's intact. You know, there's a house, there's a rainbow. Everything looks like it's coming up roses. But there's also an aspect of them that's looking away. That their back is to, really what I see is just their back is to the this divine counterpart, that they may not even be really emotionally connected right now. This looks more to me about, you know, physical, like, you know, maybe the household feels solid, maybe you know, if they have children, the family feels solid, things look okay on the surface, but the energy is really looking away from the other The next card that was pulled was the Power card, and this is a major arcana in this particular deck. And this is about, in a couple of ways, like stepping into their own power. This is about recognizing their own strength, inner strength, courage, willpower, all of those things. And that what I'm getting is that this person is having to draw on their own inner strength, their own inner resilience because of this. So as I was looking, and it started to become a little bit more clear that this is certainly feeling solid right now. To a certain extent, but it's requiring a ton of effort. It's requiring a lot of work. And so this person is having to draw on, all of their reserves to be able to keep things where they are. They have to continue to be resilient and be strong to keep this as it is. Then there's also this sense of, this person asking themselves, some questions around the situation. And I'm getting this on a soul level. I don't necessarily know that this is a person that's asking them these questions on a physical conscious level, but they're kind of wondering if maybe they made a mistake. Honestly, that's the energy that I'm getting. It's like, did I make a mistake here? Like, did I choose poorly? Did I do something wrong? Did I make the wrong decision? What am I supposed to be learning here? Because it's requiring so much effort to keep the boat on afloat. To just keep things going is taking so much effort, and it's draining me. And, what am I doing here? Did I make a mistake? Do I need to be doing something different? What do I need to learn from this? That's really the energy that I'm getting from this right now. And this card says material and spiritual prosperity. Okay, but look again, the back is to, it's not forward facing. It's not looking at looking forward. It's their back is to, that's all. I don't know what else I can say about that. It's their back is to and I'm feeling it's to the counterpart, that you're listening. If you're listening to this, and you are the counterpart, then the energy that I'm getting is that their back is to you, and that they're maybe on a certain level actually contemplating, moving away from this connection. So this is about maybe some things are coming through for them, like maybe a new job, maybe a new opportunity, that they're feeling a little more grounded. They're feeling a little bit more solid. That is really, honestly, what I'm getting from this, all of these together, is that they're building their own prosperity, material and spiritual prosperity. They're building their inner resources, because on some level, I think that they're really starting to recognize that this is requiring so much effort just to keep it afloat, that maybe they're considering again, I really feel this is more on like an unconscious, like soul level, whether this is actually a good fit for them anymore, and whether they want to continue in this connection, or whether they want to build their own resources so they can move forward. Honestly, the reason that I just keep getting this energy, because they're back being to the to this connection over here, like they seem turned away, very disconnected from this other party. They're not really connected at all emotionally. There's no emotion cards in here. There's no love. It's just literally about like practical things. So how they connect in this lifetime. Let me put these in the right order. The first card that came up was the base chakra or the root chakra. This is the sense of, really about the fundamental sense of safety. So their connection, again, I'm going back to like what I was just saying here, is about safety in the world. It's about, I really feel like the two of them are feeling like these two, the counterpart, your counterpart, and the karmic, are feeling that they need each other to be safe in the world. So it's this like their security is tied together. So maybe they have financial things that are tied together. Maybe they have other business, children, something that makes them feel like their sense of safety in the world is tied together. But you know what that's called, right? That's called codependence. That's not, it's not about, if you feel like you have to have another person in your life to survive, because this really is about survival, that's codependent. That's not healthy. The next card is how they're tied together in this lifetime is victory and success. So again, there's that sense of feeling like their success is tied to the other. It's and that's not necessarily, it can be, it's not a terrible thing, right? It's not awful to feel like if you have a business partner, somebody that you really vibe with, or if things are going great, you have a great connection, and you feel like you need, like, that you, let me see how I can say this, that together you're better. That's great, right? But when you start feeling like I need this person or else I can't be successful, that again is not a positive energy. I'm thinking about, like, this might be a little bit cheesy, but Jay-Z and Beyonce, like, together they're like dynamic, right? They're power couple, amazing connection, all of those things that they are. But I don't think either one of them feels like my success in this world is tied to this to this person. I feel like either one of them could say at any time, I'm gonna, I need to go my own way, I need to do my own thing, and that they would be just as successful with or without the other. And what this is saying is that these two right here feel somehow that they're tied together in order that to be victorious and to be successful. So it's interesting too, because this card also is about staying grounded and not getting a big head. So this is perhaps part of the connection that ties them together in this lifetime is about ego. That they may stroke each other's ego in a sense that, like, they just, for whatever reason, whatever the dynamic is that it's like ego based, that it's not really, again, I don't see there's no love. I don't see any genuine love here. They're about ego, that they're part of their connection is about, maybe appearances, like they want things to look a certain way, and so they feel like they need to make things look a certain way, even if that's not the truth, because otherwise they'll feel like a failure, or that things aren't what they should be, or that people are going to look at them a certain way, and so they're staying together not necessarily because there's a love, it's because they feel like they should. So the next card in the connection, how they're connecting in this lifetime, is it's very interesting card. I'm looking at the book right now because I wanted to make sure I got the right interpretation. This is in other decks, in traditional tarot decks, the Sun, which tends to be the most positive card in the deck. But this is also about how I'm reading this with karma, with this being a karmic relationship, is that what is hidden always comes to light. right? So part of their function is that neither one of them is requiring the other person to come out of the shadows, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So it's like, again, I keep coming back to this like codependent kind of dynamic where it's like, well, I know that you're not being totally upfront, and I know that this is not entirely great, but we're not going to be honest about it. We're going to just like keep appearances because it feels safe, and we're going to continue to empower and enable each other to be less than we're capable of being. So we're going to like in psychology they call it a folie à deux. It's a shared delusion. And so it's like there's part of them that's kind of like just they understand that things are not going as well as they would like it to go. You know, they're both struggling in some pretty significant ways, and they both know it, but neither one of them is gonna necessarily, at this point anyway, be the one to say it, because they're invested in the image and they're invested in their false sense of security. And so part of this is allowing each other, the karmic connection is allowing each other to remain in the shadows and not come out and not let things be illuminated the way that they ought to be in order to be free. Because as long as you're hiding in the shadows, you're not really free. You know, as long as you feel like you have things that you need to hide, you're not really free. This again also strikes me as an ego connection, that there's like that they both in some way are getting their ego stroked through the connection instead of actually getting love through the connection. So yes, that's really what I'm getting from that, is that it's primarily based in ego and image as opposed to love. So how to resolve the karma? The first card that came up was new beginnings. It's allow yourself these new beginnings. So this is traditionally the Fool in other tarot cards. So it's about, you know, going forward with wisdom. It's not, don't go stepping blindly off a cliff. You plan and plot. What this card talked about planning. This, you know, building the foundation. That they have to let themselves have a new beginning based in truth and honesty. It can either be a new beginning with each other, if that's what they choose, if that's the path that they choose to go down, because again, there's always free will, but it has to be based on truth and honesty. It can't be based on secrets and lies and manipulations and ego and things like that. It has to be based on truth and honesty. It has to be based on sincerity, and there has to be love as the foundation. There has to be love and a willingness to connect in meaningful ways, because right now there looks like literally there's no emotion. There are no love cards in this reading at all. So it feels like a very practical connection that's absent of genuine love. So in order to move this to resolve the karma, they have to let themselves, either as a unit or as individuals, have a new beginning. Recognizing that this is not working. It's not working for them. It's, I mean, it may be working on a practical level, but as far as meaningful ways, it's not moving forward, or it's not necessarily the best type of connection. So the next card is to resolve the karma is the heart chakra. They have to open up their hearts. So when you're in a relationship that's based on practicality and, you know, that doesn't have the love like we saw absent in this reading, you have a tendency to withdraw, and cover up your heart. And so in order to allow this to move forward, whichever, you know, to the new beginnings, whichever way they decide to go, is they have to open their hearts. And I really feel like this card up here, you know, the light kind of hiding in the shadows, needs to come out. Like there need to be conversations. There need to be someone has to take the initiative and have the conversation and be like, you know what, this isn't really like what I want. This isn't really working. Like I need love. I need connection. I need to feel like, inspired in my partnership, in my romantic connections. Like, I need to feel desire and passion and all of those things. And if that's not there, then we need to reevaluate either how we get it back, or whether we have, burned this candle to the end, and whether we need to evaluate a different path going forward. So that's what this is. It's like letting themselves have heart-to-heart conversations and opening their hearts. I feel like both of them have really closed down their heart, and this aren't feeling they're just not feeling, they're not feeling the love. Neither one of them is feeling the love, and they're avoiding having heart-to-heart conversations because it's scary. And then the next card is how to resolve the karma, is the trapped in fear card. So obviously it's not about staying trapped in fear to resolve the karma. It's, excuse me while I get a sip. Thank you. It's about getting out. This is like a mental prison. It's like how to resolve the karma. Get out of the fear. Get out of this mental prison that you're in, where you're feeling trapped, where you're feeling like you can't move forward, where you're feeling like, if I do an X, Y, and Z, then these are the consequences. And the reality is that, honestly, most of the time, the shit that we fear, the stories that we tell ourselves that we're afraid of, are way less, like, the reality is rarely as bad as we imagine it in our heads. So to resolve the karma, one or both of them has to get out of the fear of change, of transformation, of new beginnings, because every new beginning comes with an ending, and so there's gonna have to be some kind of transition that takes place. And I think what I'm getting is that they're both aware of it, but they're not addressing it. It's kind of like the elephant in the room. Because they're afraid. What will happen if I do this? What will happen if I open this conversation? Again, like I said, any kind of change is scary. Any kind of transition is scary, and I totally understand it, and I'm not judging it at all, because I've been in that place before too. So I have a lot of compassion for that, but I definitely see that there's a lot of fear with them that's keeping them stuck. So for those of you that are watching, in order to assist in this process, if you desire to do that, send love and light to both parties. Send love and light to both parties, because both parties are hurting here. Neither one of them is happy. And I know that you probably, you have obviously a vested interest in your divine counterpart figuring their shit out and moving on, or one way or the other. But really, if you decide to send love and light and energy, really be sure that it's pure energy, and that it's not coming from an agenda-based place or any kind of manipulative place. Just really genuinely the vibe of unconditional love to both parties, and really surrendering and allowing what's in the highest good for everybody involved to come forth. So I hope that this was a helpful reading. Please let me know if you have any questions, comment. I can do personal readings if you're looking for that. I'll post the links in the description box, and have a wonderful week.